Let's talk about skin hydration. Hydration is one of the most important things to focus on in skincare, no matter what you're doing, whether you have oily, combination, dry skin, it's super important. So today I want to talk about the top 2 hydrating ingredients that everybody needs. Today I want to share a little bit about my top 2 favorite hydrating ingredients because this topic is so important. It honestly deserves a video on its own. Hydration is one of those things we hear a lot, and I think we all know it's important, but I can't stress just how important it is. It really makes a difference, not only short term, but also long term in your skin. And I think in the past, maybe like our moms or grandmothers would use these like really rich creams that are like very fragrant and feel very luxurious and think that was hydrating you, but it's really not. We've kind of learned since then that there are different kinds of ingredients that are better. So I wanted to get into my top 2 favorite. We're gonna talk a little bit about hyaluronic acid and then also about squalene, which, by the way, squalene, I've heard some people pronounce it squalene, some people pronounce it squalene. I think squalene sounds more fun, so that's how I've been pronouncing it. I also want to get into when to use a serum and when to use an oil. So let's talk about hyaluronic acid first. You may have heard this. I think this is a really, really popular ingredient. Hyaluronic acid, even though there's the word acid in it, is one of the most like gentle, nourishing, amazing ingredients that anyone can use. It's actually one ingredient that I always say, like across the board, I'd recommend it for everybody, whereas things that like maybe like vitamin C or retinol or AHAs or BHAs, you might only recommend for certain people based on their skin. Hyaluronic acid is great for everyone. It's one ingredient that I literally use multiple times a day, not just morning and night. Sometimes in the middle of the day I'll use it. So it's naturally found in our body. We all have hyaluronic acid, but of course, as we age, it declines like most things. Where it's most prevalently found is in our skin, it's in our joints. It basically acts as like a lubricant. So you'll see it mostly in skincare ingredients, but you'll also notice that it's in like supplements for joints because it's really like that lubrication that keeps your joints like mobile and keeps it like almost juicy. So as you age, this kind of makes sense. Your skin gets a little more dry and your joints start to hurt because you're losing the hyaluronic acid that we normally produce. So luckily you can use this topically. It's found in a lot of different products. The reason why it's so hydrating, it's so amazing, is because it has a really great water binding capacity. So it's gonna hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water, which is why, when you apply it, it's not just like you're getting the hydration from the product, you're actually binding in moisture and hydration and holding in water. Another interesting thing or little fun fact about hyaluronic acid is it's usually the base of most cosmetic fillers. So if you're going to get like your lips done or any part of your face, hyaluronic acid is what they use. It's found in Juvederm, it's found in Juvederm Plus, a bunch of different brand names. This is also why some people who get filler might be a little bit more swollen in like humid environments, or why sometimes certain parts of the day or in the morning, like your lips can be a little bit bigger. It's because they're holding on to water. So if there's more moisture in the air, literally if there's humidity, you might end up swelling. So this is also another reason why you have to be really tedious with any kind of like cosmetic filler, because if you put too much, sometimes it might swell or sometimes it might go away. One other cool thing about cosmetic filler, actually, some research has shown that when you apply like external hyaluronic acids, whether this is filler or whether it's even like applied, let's say you get microneedling and then apply hyaluronic acid so it's like really getting into your cells, it can actually boost collagen synthesis. So that's kind of cool that it almost has this like stimulating effect where you're boosting your own collagen. So it could also be like slightly anti-aging long term. So when it comes to hyaluronic acid, I have one example here. This one is by Peter Thomas Roth. Whatever brand you end up using, I just prefer to have pure hyaluronic acid. So one of my favorites is Osea. I didn't get it for this video, but it's a super clean brand. It's pure hyaluronic acid. The reason I say this is so that you can use it numerous times a day. Like I mentioned, like if you get a hyaluronic acid and it has a retinol in it or a vitamin C in it, I wouldn't say like use it freely throughout the day because you don't want to keep repeating those products in your skin. It might get a little bit irritating. Whereas hyaluronic acid, you can keep applying throughout the day. So I like to at least have one that's just that and then make sure that I'm using it constantly. I also like to use it in a serum form, no matter what the product is, because it's gonna be more concentrated. So serums tend to have a smaller molecular size, which means they're gonna go into deeper layers of the skin. So you just wanna get something that's like more bang for your buck. If you're using like a rich face cream with hyaluronic, it's really just gonna kind of sit on the surface. One product that's really cool is SkinMedica. It's called HA5. I'm gonna pop it up on here in case I said it wrong. But it's basically 5 different molecular sizes of hyaluronic acid. So when you're applying it, some is going in really deep, some is staying superficial, then you're getting the benefit everywhere. So that's kind of a cool product, but actually one I haven't tried yet. I just recently learned about it and wanted to share it in this video. So whenever you apply hyaluronic acid, you can put a few drops into your hand, or you can also apply it directly to your face. It's totally preference here, but one thing I would suggest is not rubbing too much in your hands because you don't want to waste the product. So just kind of dabbing in your hands, then lightly tapping it to different areas of your face. Make sure you cover everything. Put some down to your neck and chest. And then when you're rubbing it in, always kind of push in an upward direction so you give yourself a little bit of facial massage here too. You never want to pull down or drag down, always lift up. And you'll notice when it goes on, it feels very like cooling and nice, almost feels like a really nice gel, and it really sucks right into your skin. So in probably 5 minutes, it'll feel like you have nothing on your skin because it gets absorbed so nicely. And then afterwards, you can follow it up with like a moisturizer. So next, let's get into squalene. So kind of like hyaluronic acid, squalene is something we also produce in our body, but it's also found in a lot of other sources. It's found in predominantly, I'd say, in shark liver oil, which is where a lot of skincare brands will get it. But if you obviously don't want to go that route and you want to stick to vegan products, it's found in different things like olives and olive oil, amaranth oil, different whole grains. You can find it in sugarcane. Actually, one cool, or maybe not cool, but one interesting thing is that if you're trying to avoid grains or trying to avoid maybe a certain kind of gluten in your diet, I would actually check before getting squalene and see what source it comes from, because everything you apply to your skin does get absorbed. So you might not think like, oh, I'm trying to eat like a gluten-free diet or a grain-free diet, and you're not thinking about the skincare, but some things are sourced from there. So it's always kind of interesting to pay attention to where it comes from. One other interesting thing is that squalene, as it like in its natural form, it's technically spelled E-N-E, and then when they convert it from squalene to like a synthetic form, which we use, the ending of the word is A-N-E. So it goes from like squalene to squalane almost. And I just wanted to reiterate this because this is another example of why natural isn't necessarily always better. Clean is good, but synthetic isn't bad. So there's a difference between natural and synthetic. So if you were to use the squalene that's naturally found, it's actually a less stable form than the squalane, or like, you know, the synthetic squalene. It goes from an unsaturated to a completely saturated fat, and actually the more natural version tends to go a little bit rancid. It's an oil that doesn't stay stable, so that's definitely not something we want to keep on our shelves. We want to make sure that it stays like clean and healthy, and we don't want rancid oil on our face. So it's just a little example of why sometimes creating something in a lab isn't a bad thing, and it actually gives you a more stable, great product. So squalene you're gonna find in an oil. This is more like versus a serum. It always ends up coming in an oil. It's different from other oils too because it's non-comedogenic. So there's different levels of oils you can get. There's a scale from like 0 to 5. Squalene is 0. It's not going to clog your pores. If you have oily or acne, like acne prone skin, this is definitely the oil you want to use. And in fact, as I've said before, if you do have oily or acne prone skin, you definitely need to moisturize because drying out your skin could cause you to produce more oil. So this could be a great one. One alternative, if that's maybe the case for you, is to mix a little bit in with your moisturizer, or when you're applying it, maybe have your skin be a little bit damp before you apply the oil so that it's not so heavy on your skin. But if you don't have this issue, then you can just go ahead and apply it directly onto your skin. So when you're applying squalene oil, it's a little bit different than the hyaluronic acid because this is an oil, so it's not a serum. So I really like to kind of put it in my hands and warm the oil in my hands before applying it to my face. And you can be a little more generous with this. And then again, still dab it onto your face. I never like to tug or pull on my skin, you know, kind of tap it on. But the good thing about an oil is that because it has that oil like texture, you can glide a little more. So this is also a great time to do a little bit of facial massage whenever you can, always pushing in an upward direction. And you'll notice when you put this on, it feels much different than other oils. It feels a lot lighter, almost like it's sitting a little more on the surface of your skin. That's just how I describe it. It doesn't feel like it's like really, really like penetrating too deep, which probably explains why it doesn't cause too much oil buildup or acne or, clogged pores. It's really good like that. And, if you have extra, you can apply it to your skin. It's a really hydrating, nice oil. It's completely odorless, colorless, so you can apply this numerous times throughout the day, just like hyaluronic acid. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on my top 2 hydrating ingredients. If you can't tell, I stressed it a lot. Hydration is so important. I wouldn't even say that one of these ingredients is better than the other. I'd say they're both great and they both have their place. But if I had to pick one, it's always hyaluronic acid. It's my favorite, but I think they both have a place, and sometimes you want an oil, sometimes you want a serum. So if you guys want me to do any more of these skincare ingredient topics, let me know, because I am still filming a lot of them. I'm gonna be doing best ingredients for acne, best anti-aging ingredients. So I'd love your suggestions and input, because of course I make these videos to help you. So let me know in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.